This is from my 7th collection of words, the Patisserie Embargo. I spent one autumn working for a clockmaker named Lucas, assisting him in the construction of each clock face. He said it was a hands-on job, which certainly was funny the first time. He had read many books on how to interact with other people, and as a result was very bad at interacting with other people. He was proud of what he did for a living, claiming it was the oldest profession in the world. I assured him another profession had already laid claim to this accolade. His response was, "Well, then how did they know to turn up to work on time?" It was not difficult to fault his arguments. It was more difficult to win against them, as he simply spoke louder with each riposte. It was especially difficult to argue about whether or not I was late for work. Though rotund, stern, and flatulent, Lucas had many tales to tell, seemingly a man who had lived 3.5 times the lives of most other men. With a remarkably wide hand, he would scrape a bristled cheek and recount tales of adventure, such as the time he was set upon in the Rocky Mountains by a flock of bears while out gathering bracken. As the bears approached, and death seemed as certain as a fisherman on his day off refusing an invite to the beach, Lucas recalled some advice given to him by a midwife he had met during a hostage situation at his local bank, who told him to make the following noise in the event of being approached by bears. He had subsequently practiced this sound several times, and thus delivered it with gusto, forcing the bears to retreat, but not before they had trampled his tent and made off with one of his feet. Lucas did indeed walk with the hobble, yet would never remove his boots to prove or disprove the tale. Often his tales would have to be taken with a pint of salt, or dismissed as something not real, yet recognizably unpleasant, like a vomiting gorgon or a jar of imp's piss. Lucas had a place in the High Sierra Hills where he grew wild salad. He would vacation there twice a year, the rest of the time renting it out to a sports poet from Dusseldorf. One afternoon we were visited by a man bringing in a broken sundial for repair. With the man was a baby. The baby's most striking feature was inarguably the tattoo it sported on its right arm, just above the elbow. The tattoo was of a baby, which did not make it any less strange. It was the tattoo of a Chinese baby, etched in blue ink. The baby itself was Chinese, but this was a tattoo of a different Chinese baby. Unless the tattooist was not good at his profession, or the baby had changed significantly since getting the tattoo. The man accompanying the baby was not Chinese. He spoke in the hushed tones of a man glued to a porpoise against his will. We never questioned the man's choice, assuming the baby had not made that choice itself, especially as his custom was of some value to Lucas. With timepieces he charged more the older the model. Another time we were visited by a man claiming to be a retired vampire. That old shop sure did attract some colorful souls. He commissioned a clock with 13 numbers upon it, and paid in gold ingots. I have a fondness for those days. The memories often drift back to me like a lost cloud on a fairground log flume. Truly, I could happily have worked there at the clockmaker's for some time, but that was not to be. Lucas retired that fall on account of his death. Time eventually paid its own visit to that store, and was Lucas's final customer. Rumors persisted, of course, with the debts accrued and the 7 wives seeking alimony. Were the stories to be believed? And perhaps they were true. Perhaps Lucas had struck a trade deal with time, and in fact returned to the wilds for his remaining days. They say the body in the morgue had both feet intact. 6 Whitsuns later, a Bavarian circus came to town. As I passed the big top, one evening I'm certain as Baltimore that I heard emanating from it an unmistakable